All right, so welcome back to Morning Tea Marketing Misses, and it's wonderful to have you with us all again today. So we thought that we'd do something a little bit different this week because we've been having a look over the last few weeks at each of the wonderful guests here that we have on the show, and of course we've come to the end of the year that we'll be chatting with you all. So we wanted to finish. On an amazing note with and have our finale with the incredible Janeen Vosper, our wonderful leader here at Morning Tea Marketing Misses, and the beautiful entrepreneur of the Speech Perfect Academy as well. Beautiful public speaking guru as well. So, Janine, thank you so much for bringing us all together for this wonderful show that we've been able to have fun doing every month and every week. And we'd love to have this opportunity to hear a little bit more about you and to learn some more about why it is that you do what you do and what got you into it. We'd love to know.
Oh, there's some stories there, Lara. Thank you so much for that. What I do is incredibly diverse, but it all sits under the umbrella of helping you become more confident in what you have to say it, how you deliver it to the world, whether it is through, as you mentioned, public speaking or standing up in front of a stage and presenting to 1,000 people behind a computer and speaking on a webinar, whether it's in a sales conversation, one-on-one, or even your pitch at the end of your presentation. It's how you see your personal brand, how you tell your story. So all of that fits under that personal branding. And it's so diverse, everything that I do, but it really is very, very much about stories. So my stories, I was never the quiet child in school. I don't, you probably find that hard to imagine.
Absolutely.
I
Stop right
was,
there.
I was always the one that had the comments on every report card, disruptive in class. I was a B positive, a B plus, A minus student, and probably could have been a lot higher if I'd stopped talking. But I, I'd learned the things, and then I already processed them, adapted them, and applied them. And I've just been able to do that my entire life. I hear something, figure out how I can use it, and then apply it. And what I realized many, many years ago is not everyone can do that. I just thought that was what people do. And the other thing that I learned is that I can file things so that I can find them in my head, in my brain. So I can, if somebody, and it can be trivia, which is ridiculous. My husband goes, "How the heck did you know that?" And I go, "No, it's filed there somewhere." But it's not that I'm, super high IQ or anything. It's just that the way things are. So I can be doing something and they'll go, "Oh, I need something from a different file." I can close that file and then open it up and then not be distracted and then go back to what I was doing. And I thought everyone could do that as well. But I realized that people couldn't. So part of what I do within my coaching and mentoring is actually help people get good at that too, so that they can figure that out. But what got me really into my own business, I was always very much from that space. You can't tell me what to do. Freedom. It's really amazing because I've been married for 44 years. So
How do you do it?
I just don't listen. And neither does he. That works out really well. But I with that, it's how do you have a job where again you can see how things should be done efficiently and well, and then have somebody try and tell you how to do things. So it didn't work very well for me. And I've always been one person to go, "I'm doing this now. What would I want to be doing in the next 10 years? And then what fits into that lifestyle?" So then I'd start training and learning that while I was doing what I was doing. So and while I've got two sons, which are, in their late 30s and 40s. And what I did while they were younger was I trained as a fitness trainer. The second group that ever threw in Queensland, became an aerobic instructor for 10 years because that fitted really nicely into what working with the kids in primary school and when they were younger. And then while I was doing that, I thought I'll train in management. So that I then got a job as a sales rep and then moved into a general manager role for a company called Alpha First Aid. So I was a GM of sales and for that company, and then actually secured every mining company, every mine in Queensland and most government departments and councils. And so that all part of that storytelling. And the next thing is, how do I start my own business? So on the side, I started my own business, Speech Perfect, and then in 2018 moved into Speech Perfect full time after 20 years as with Alpha. So all along that way, there was little catalysts though. It wasn't just, oh, I'll make this decision. And I think everyone can probably relate to that with the public speaking part. I was at a friend's funeral, a friend's mother's funeral, and it's a long story. I won't go into it, but there was nobody on that day that could speak on that woman's behalf because her husband had died a short time before, and the family was so distraught. The minister had changed, and I'm sitting in the pews with my parents, and I'm just saying to myself, I'm never going to be mute again. I'm never going to not have the capacity to say, I will put my hand up and I will be the person up in front of the room to speak on someone else's behalf or to speak on my own behalf. And that was a real line in the sand moment for me. And I've always had the confidence, and as I said, I always talked, but there had to be that moment. And that's one of the reasons I love what I do now is because I help people find their voice, that confidence, their ability, their skill to be able to deliver their message, to be able to shine in what they do.
Amazing. We're so fortunate and blessed to have you in our midst and to do the wonderful work that you do, Janeen, because it is so vital. Absolutely. Especially, when you consider that we're now living in an age or moving into an age of AI and, like with AI, it can create speaking voices for people and things. But I think even more now that it's important that people find their own voice and that courage and confidence to be able to have a message to share and deliver, and that, they have your expertise and skill to call on to coach them and to encourage them in that process. I love the way that you've been able to share the evolution and the stories of your life, and as you've been able to grow and develop as a person and in business as well. And I'm curious, I wonder, because of the introduction of things like AI now, and I think it's incredible that you've been able to, keep across technology in the ways that you have as well, throughout your career. What is it that you see that could happen for yourself as a business owner? And are there any ideas that you would like to share for other aspiring business owners as to what they might want to keep in mind, or as to how you think your business could continue to develop and evolve in the next 10 years?
It's a really interesting topic with AI and what the capacities. We have no idea of what the capability of what it can do. But what I'm finding in my own business, Lara, is that people want to be coached one-on-one now. They want to work with a real person. They want, and we had a little bit of a conversation earlier, and that's one of the reasons we've been doing these interviews, is that so people can get to know each one of us as individuals. And I think that's where there'll be certain occupations that will not exist anymore, that we've had all the way along, that can be automated, and there'll be a lot more of those. But it's got to come back to that authentic you and who you are. And I think that's something that AI cannot take over. And it doesn't matter how much information you give them about yourself, it still can't recreate you. And I think that's where we have to keep coming from, is that authentic voice.
That sounds brilliant. And thank you for reminding us that, as much as AI can do a lot of things, it will never be able to replace us. That's good to know. What do you see yourself doing in the next 10 years? Do you think you'll continue to be a public speaking coach? Like, I'm curious, what other stories are inside of you?
The 10-year plan again, it's and I encourage my clients to do exactly the same thing. It's not a goal, it's a plan for what you want your life to look like in 10 years' time, and
Yeah.
then start putting the processes in place to achieve it. And I've done that all the way through. So for me, I don't plan on retirement. My husband's retired. I don't plan on it, but I have a lifestyle business. I think you've heard me mention that many times before.
Yes.
And whether my lifestyle includes all the travel that I do. I have a caravan. I think Jan mentioned last week that she's got the van thing that goes on the back of the car. Well, I've got one that goes on the back of the car too, Jan, but it's sort of another 19 feet behind,
Yeah.
behind the vehicle. And lots of plans for traveling and speaking. And in fact, in 2026, we're going to spend 6 months on the road heading west. And I've got connections with Lions clubs, federal ministers, and I'm going to get in contact with local councils and offer my services to be able to go and speak and do half-day workshops and just gift time into those communities that are very remote and they don't have the people come in and do things in person. So that's sort of on the plans, and that's where I see myself fitting into that space also, is to I know I can't not do what I do. I've tried. I've come back from 7 weeks traveling, and then I've gone, oh, maybe I just retire. And then as soon as I have a client, I go, I cannot not do it. It's so high on my value and who I am that it's getting that balance, and whether it's playing golf on a Tuesday or playing with the grandkids on the weekend or
And
traveling.
you have grandchildren. Yes, let us know more about your beautiful grandchildren.
So I have 5. The oldest one just turned 21.
Wow.
Yeah.
Never know looking at you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's good on Zoom. We can do the screen thing that improves the way we look. The filters. Yes, I've got grandson is 21, grandson 11, a granddaughter 8, going on 18.
Yes.
As girls do. Another one 6, and another grandson 7. And the 7-year-old is severely autistic and also has other mental health issues. So it's a different space. Parenting each one of those, parenting a grandparenting a 21-year-old adult, and the other children as well. But it's something that I like spending a lot of time doing, and I think it rounds me out.
Yeah, definitely. Wonderful. Nice to know. And they're so lucky to have you in their lives as well. It's such a blessing. And so you've got this also addiction to golf, I hear. Tell us about that.
Oh, it's not necessarily an addiction, but it's definitely, a lot of people say golf spoils a good walk, but it's
I've not heard that before. That's funny.
Oh,
and some days when you're out there, you can really relate. Out of everything I've ever done in my life, golf is the hardest. You can't, like Jan, when you're doing your powerlifting, if you lift one day, the next day you might be a little bit off, the next day you'll be back at that level. Or golf is nothing like that. And the worst thing you can do in golf is have a really good game.
Oh,
really?
Oh, because the expectation then is you're going to go out and do it again.
Oh.
And it just doesn't happen. And especially only playing once a week. I was watching PGA championships on the weekend, and I don't like seeing people fail, but it was so good to see these professionals get an 8. Double bogey. It's like, whoa. And you feel a lot better.
Indeed.
Yes, but again, it's part of that lifestyle that I create. I do a lot of networking, and I meet a lot of new people each week. And it's high on my values. I'm extrovert. I enjoy being around people and connecting with people and learning about what people do and how they do it.
I love it. Like, from what I've learned about you whilst we've been doing these episodes for over a year now, is that you are determined. You're a woman after my own heart. Very determined, and without being pushy, you help people to see, like, recently we talked about a little bit about politics, and a couple of us couldn't care any less about politics, but just without being dogmatic, you helped us to learn something, which was really great.
Don't check out my Facebook page.
But I get that. So, but at the same time, you know when to be a little more forceful, but you also need to know when to just pull it back a bit.
Yeah.
And it's I like to see myself as being tactful and sledgehammer like sometimes, but it's whatever's needed. And so I appreciate, and I've really loved spending the time getting to know you and you imparting your knowledge.
And that's what I was going to say, Jan. I
Thanks,
think the one thing that Janeen hasn't mentioned is how she's so willing to share her knowledge, not charge for it. Yeah, it'll be just something simple, and you'll think, yeah, actually, that just makes sense. Thanks, Janeen.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Very
that.
generous.
Yes, if just to promote self-promotion, if you go to my YouTube channel, there's about 400 videos, whether a minute long or an hour long, that are interviews on the We Are Women podcast. Then, there's a ton of information. There's no reason not to know stuff.
Yeah, wonderful. And on that note, Janeen, may I ask what would be the best way that people could find you, and then also for them to reach out to you?
I do a lot on social media, so there's a lot of methods. The YouTube channel I would love you to go to and subscribe, but that way you don't miss any of those videos or those trainings at all. And it's Janeen Vosper, the channel. You can find me on LinkedIn. I coach and train people how to set up their profile on LinkedIn so they can be found. And so you can find me on LinkedIn. And again, it's under my name. Same with Speech Perfect. If you're searching for the business, it'll pop up. If you've worked with me at all, I would love for you, or you've been listening to these for a couple of years, I'd love you to leave a 5-star review, just to say, that you've learned something, as both Jan and Narelle said. And any of the socials at all, please reach out. And if you go to janeenvosper.com and notice how it's spelled, I think you can see that popping up there on my name. Then if you do want to have a conversation, then I have a 30-minute complimentary that we can chat about anything within your business. And because of all the people I'm connected with through my podcasts, through everything I do, if I can't help you, I can recommend somebody that I would recommend, which is different than just giving out a name as well.
Yeah, and I can vouch for Janeen on that. She's done that for me many times. And so thank you for making those introductions for me with others on LinkedIn. It's been really helpful and very valuable.
Excellent.
All right. Well, I'm actually going to ask Janeen to bring this episode and this set of series of episodes for the year to a grand close for us all, and say thank you, everyone who's been with us today. And Janeen, over to you.
Thank you so much, Lara. That wasn't too bad being under the spotlight there. That was great. I've loved the last few weeks where we've all had that opportunity to share. We're working through what we're going to be doing next year with the Morning Tea Marketing Misses. If you've got some ideas for us or any topics that you'd like to know a little bit more about, between the four of us, we have hundreds of years of expertise. Be 150 if you added it up. I'm just adding it up in my head.
Maybe just 100.
Well, let's be honest and say around 200.
It's good.
Okay, there we go.
Only because I don't know how old you are, Lara.
Yeah, it's true. Wise beyond years.
No, we would love to hear from you. We'd love some ideas, some input and as we sort of go to the break over the holidays, and we'll be back next year with some ideas, conversations, and maybe some challenges for you as well. Whatever the season means for you, whatever the holidays mean for you, have a wonderful time, enjoy. Hopefully that you've got some family and friends that you will be able to celebrate with, and just remember to be grateful for everything that we have. Have a great time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Shining
Merry
bright.
Christmas.
See you next time.
Bye.